how's it going, guys? It's day 25, April 27th, and 0 day in Grants, New Mexico. So everyone seemed to enjoy the hiker interview last 0, which was just like 2 weeks ago with 700. And today I have my hiking buddy, Midnight Chocolate here.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey. So she was kind enough to agree to sit down and kind of jam through another hiker interview. Yeah, I guess we'll get right into it. So let's see, how's the trail going so far? How you feel so far?
I mean, it's going good. You're out here hiking.
Yeah.
What's not to like about it?
Just a beautiful, desert and desolation of New Mexico, right?
Lots of road walking. I will say that can get tiring. New Mexico is about road walking, but
that's true. So actually, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, it's just like when you're out hiking, that's you'd rather be hiking roads than working.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's stressful. Yeah.
So I haven't really explained or gotten into with folks on any of my videos really about the road walking thing. I feel like any sort of person who doesn't hike a lot would be confused by like, why do we lament road walks? Do you have any insights you care to share on that, or?
Why do we lament road walks? Well, I mean, it's not trail, and you have cars driving past all the time. If it's like, there's kind of, I think we talked about this a little earlier, there's like 3 levels of road walk. There's like the highway walking, which is really not great because your feet aren't used to the road. And then there's like the forest gravel road, which still isn't that great, but it's better because it's like soft trail, soft underfoot conditions, but you still have cars going by every once in a while. And then you have like the 3rd level, which is kind of like a very wide trail. It's like the Forest Service roads that there's not, you might see 1 or 2 people on. And it's like, okay, that's okay. And sometimes that can even be better than a really bad trail.
Gotcha.
But so that's like or Midnight's. I gotta watch it. Midnight's like levels of road walking.
Yeah.
And the first being probably worse. That's you get
the highways.
You
like
get tired of the highways.
This last highway stretch into Grants was just like, and there's like a little bridge right here to Grants specifically that was just pretty much brutal. Like not even a shoulder really, and you're just like, don't hit me, please. Yeah,
that's where bright colored clothes comes in handy.
Oh yeah.
Not just to spot you in the wilderness, but to like spot you on the road.
Well,
safety first.
let's get into clothes then. Like you were saying a few days ago about you take like a radically different approach, at least when it comes to shirt and makeup material.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an interesting point that I hadn't really thought about, but I don't know. Do you want to get into that? Like, what is your shirt made out of? What's your approach with that?
So in the desert, I definitely go with a cotton shirt.
Interesting.
I know it's the sacrilege. You're gonna die. Cotton kills. Not in my world. In the desert, I wear a cotton shirt. Very cheap, Goodwill, $5 shirt. But just because it's like very big and airy, and because of the reason that it kills in the high country is why it's good in the desert. Because in my theory, it gets all sweaty and then it keeps that sweat close to your skin, and then it uses evaporative cooling, and so you stay ultimately cooler.
I mean,
now to be fair, I do have a wool shirt that I sleep in at night, so I do have a safety backup.
Sure. That's a solid idea. I mean, I had never really thought about that because the whole idea of cotton kills is that you'll just get it wet and then it'll just stay wet.
Yeah.
But in the desert where there's no humidity, it's a solid point, like evaporative cooling.
Yeah. So I love my cotton shirts for all desert activities.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I know when I was talking to 700, he has a different style tent than you and I have. You and I have the same kind of tent.
Yeah.
The Z-Packs Duplex. But someone had commented on my interview with 700 about trying to talk to people more about tents that they have when they don't have a duplex. So clearly you have a duplex, but if I'm not mistaken, like you're well, I know I'm not mistaken. It's kind of awkward because we've spoken so much over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But like, I know that you're hopefully, good Lord willing, everything goes good, you'll achieve a whole new milestone at the end of this hike.
Yeah.
With the Triple Crowner, which is congratulations on the first 2 anyways. And so for your previous hikes, you had a different tent. Did you have the same tent for those hikes, or?
No, I started, so the PCT I did with a friend, and we shared a tarp tent rain shadow.
Rain shadow, okay.
I love that tent too. I love, it was single wall.
Okay.
As well. Yeah, I love that tent, and that's actually a pretty good weight for being still nylon.
Cool.
And if you're sharing a space with someone for 6 months, like a 3-person tent,
Yeah.
is perfect size.
Yeah.
On the AT, I did start out with a single-person tarp tent.
Oh.
Not a good idea. For me, it was the because of the condensation.
Yeah.
Like it would get so much condensation because it was so close. Partly it was the size of the tent too, and so when it rained, like it would be like it was also raining inside because every time the rain hit the tent, it would like knock the condensation on me. So I was like wake up really wet. So then I switched to what I thought was the best combo for the AT, where it was just like I set that one up with my trekking poles. It was some cheap thing I got off of Amazon, actually, like a net.
Yeah.
That I would set up with my trekking poles, and then I had a 10-foot sill nylon tarp that I would put over me, and that was the best because it was like lots of airflow, good coverage for keeping me out of the rain.
Interesting. So a very sort of DIY sort of solution there.
Yeah. So like for the AT, it was like for the AT, I would either go with a double wall lightweight tent, kind of a lot like what 700 has for this trail.
What is that? They have like the MSR. Is it MSR or is it? I forget which tent they have. I don't know. I'll ask them and put it below. I don't know.
Yeah, or something like I had before, where you could just like really airy but keeps you out of the rain. But then for like the PCT, and so far for this one, and for what I know to be camping in Colorado, is I'm back to the single wall. And obviously I graduated to the duplex because I couldn't get my hands off the lightweight stuff.
How do you like that so far?
So far it's good.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Cool. I definitely feel like that tent, like, it just takes. I always feel like it takes a ton of like just repetition setting it up. I feel like every time I set it up, it's better than the last time I set it up and everything. So it's just, it's got a lot of, and that's what I love about it, is like all the nip and tuck and kind of like nuance to it and stuff. But
I mean, I will say, if you go with something that's not freestanding, you just got to get used to like how to pitch it in sandy conditions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest drawback, is like some of those you're wandering around looking for rocks, or like trying to do a little bit of like a mini dead man anchor with the stakes. But
cool.
Yeah,
all right.
So far happy with my choice for this trail.
Tent and clothes. How about like, so a question I asked 700, and he basically came back with the breakfast essentials. But like, do you take any like supplements or vitamins or anything? Do you have any sort of specific approach or criteria for food or nutrition or anything on trail, or is it just kind of see calorie, eat calorie?
Yeah, it's mostly calorie count.
Yeah.
I will say this time around, I'm trying to not eat as many candy bars.
Okay.
So I've tried to lean more towards nuts and fruits. I am, well, and that's what, so a little departure from a lot of people, but I think more are going to this. I'm going stoveless for New Mexico.
Yeah.
So that does present a little bit of a challenge, because you can actually get quite a bit of calories and some good variety with a Mountain House meal, or other freeze-dried options, I should say. But it does, I don't know, I haven't had a trouble with it without a stove yet, but I will be excited to get my stove.
When is that coming?
Ghost Ranch.
Ghost Ranch. Okay, so that's not the next stop. The stop after, right?
Yeah, but supplements, no, I don't worry about it. I figure getting enough, and I try to always have some vegetable or salad in town.
Yeah.
I'm not always successful with that, but if there is an option, like I have one in the fridge right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, buying is the first step, and then of course you got to force yourself to eat it. So.
Yeah.
It's also competing, just for the record. I have a pint of Ben & Jerry's, and Midnight's got, what, 5 Klondike bars left?
There's a yin-yang balance, right?
Not to put you on blast, but, we're all guilty, so,
Yeah. Oh, no, and I'm by no means, I love the good stuff, too, out here.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But
it's not every day where you can eat, like, literally whatever, as much of whatever as you want, and it doesn't matter because you're still shrinking.
Well, and that's another thing I always calculate my calories, but I don't think hiker hunger has started for me yet, because I'm still just under 2,500 calories.
Yeah.
So for people that are planning, I don't know, maybe people can take in more at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
I'm still under 2,500 right now. I'll probably start actually getting to 2,500 this next stretch.
Yeah. Well, we're about to go up a big mountain and then into the snow, I think, too. So. Ugh, all right. So speaking of snow, then we were just talking about this earlier today. I mean, like the 100-pound gorilla in the room, or 500-pound, or 1,000-pound, whatever, however many pounds the gorilla is.
Yeah.
That's the San Juans, man, and it's like breathing right down our neck. I guess we're 2 or 3, probably like 300 miles away from Cumber's Pass, 200 or 300 miles away from Cumber's Pass, which is like definitely elevation and where it's pretty real. You're from
about 14 days.
You've been in Colorado. Yeah, you've been in Colorado a few years now.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? I mean, I know we've already gone over it, but what's your approach here once we get up there in another couple weeks or whatever?
I'm gonna sit it out. I'm gonna wait. It's at 67% snowpack. I'm aiming to get to Cumber's Pass around May 11th.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth sitting out for at least 7 days.
Yeah.
When the snow melts. Not just the danger. I know that there's that concern for like avalanches, things like that. I feel comfortable in snow travel. I've done it for a while now, but for me, it's more just I don't want to post hole all day.
Yeah.
I don't want to carry snowshoes for too long.
Do you want to explain post holing real quick, just a brief primer in case folks aren't familiar with this concept?
Yeah, so like when you have snow, your feet don't like rest nicely on the snow. Rather, you like if there's 2 feet of snow, every time you step, your foot will sink down into a hole, a post hole. You know, help like 12 to if the snow's 50 inches deep, you could be post holing like 30 inches, and that would be very laborious for a day of walking.
Yeah.
So yeah, my approach is sit it out for 7 days, maybe a little bit more. When I go from Ghost Ranch to Chama, that should give me good like eyes on what's going on.
Yeah.
And whether I want to like sit it out longer or just be like my 7 days are good.
Yeah.
Come back.
Okay.
And then keep going. That's my strategy. I know that there's
Beats
rolling it over and like
so he's working on it, man.
People.
And like you've done all sorts of like mountaineering classes, like hosted classes and things like this, right? Like as an instructor. So I mean, if there's ever a person whose advice I'm going to take, it's probably the gal who's done it and taught it and has a lot more experience than me. So as of this exact hour, I'm leaning towards probably taking a break, but we'll see. That's not for this video, I guess. But all right. So so what about any? Let's see. So we're just coming out of Malpais. Just the day we left trail, we were coming out of Malpais.
Yeah. The lava flows of Malpais.
Yeah. And before that, we had. I mean, probably Gila was like the major point before that.
Yeah.
And then before that was. Wasn't there one more park sort of thing that we went into? I guess there was the Gila Forest before we got to the and then of course the boot heel. So I don't expect your favorite part thus far would have been the boot heel. But any particular favorites so far? Any favorite days, favorite spots, favorite sections thus far? I mean, we're still kind of young in the trail, I think.
We are still young. I mean, the Gila was pretty cool. It was cool for me to do a mix of the Gila, to do like down in the Gila. I know you went full Gila.
Yeah.
And I went Gila high road, and I liked getting the Gila in and then going up high, being on the water in the like big ponderosa pine forest up there. That would probably be my favorite so far. It's kind of hard not to think like it was fun to do like Burrow Peak because that was the first for being a little bit of a peak bagger. Yeah, it's like the first real peak of the trail that we're going up.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then to that point, the day we leave here, you and I were just talking earlier about maybe just camping on top of Taylor Mountain, because I think the peak is about 20 miles from here, which is a pretty good day, especially given the elevation and at least my, because I've been taking the low roads, but at least my unfamiliarity thus far with elevation shift. So how are you feeling about Taylor? I know you were just looking into that, excited about that.
Oh, it's gonna be good.
Yeah. And how about beyond Taylor? Any particular sort of section that's jumping out to you? Have you looked into alternates? Are you thinking of any particular routes or bypasses or overpasses or underpasses? I don't know. Any section you're looking forward to?
CDT. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting into real mountains. Actually getting above 10,000 feet on a regular basis. Getting into the San Juans. How about again, you're from Colorado, you've been there for years, so do you have any feeling or regard or thoughts about the oxygen questions as you start to get up to 14s and stuff like this? Like,
I know if I flew straight from Northern Virginia to Colorado, I would probably die trying to go up a mountain, but...
I think when we get to Ghost Ranch, that's kind of Cuba Ghost Ranch, I feel like is when we actually start getting into main elevation, like real elevation for consistent time period. We're not gonna have problems.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been hiking for what, 600-700 miles by that point.
Yeah.
Your legs are fine. Yeah, you might slow down a little bit, but
Not too worried about it.
No.
Yeah.
We're gonna be fine.
But it's not an unfounded concern if you were to fly right out and try and run up Pikes Peak or something.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of how I feel too. I'm like, I think by the time we get there, if we've walked there, essentially walked up that gradient, we've been acclimating the whole time without realizing it. So.
Yeah. Maybe that's true. Like our mountain legs, it's not like the PCT or the AT, and that we don't really have mountain legs right now. Yeah. So the first couple mountains are gonna be like, okay, yeah, like my quads are speaking to me, but I think we're gonna get it fast.
Okay. All right. What else? Well, I mentioned maybe getting into some philosophy. Do you have any?
Philosophy.
I know. We won't go too big into Kant or anything else, but Kant. But any particular, like, I don't know, like before I came out on trail and I was like putting out a couple videos about this or that or whatever, like one of the videos I put out was like about 8 mantras that I use frequently on trail. Like one of which I haven't used at all yet on trail, which is Confucius say, when it rains we get wet. But it just hasn't rained in 25 days or whatever. But do you have any sort of like mantras or motivational things or anything like this that, again, I hate to put you in blast that way, anything that jumps out? Like,
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm sure I just enjoy it out here.
Yeah.
I think that kind of is enough for me.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I won't say I'm trying to think of like down moments or anything like that. There's certainly a couple moments of like if ever I get scared about something, like sometimes I'll just like kind of think about it, or like even like actually one of the things that people ask me about, like, are you afraid of bears? Are you afraid of snakes? And like sometimes I'll do these like little songs in my head, and like, like, okay, snake, like I'm not gonna sing on camera, but like
we're so close.
But like, hey, like, stay off the trail today, snake, so I don't see you. Yeah. But then it's like it's still all kind of silly. Like you just think about it, it's like what am I worried about really? Yeah. But yeah, no, mantras, like it's hard for me to get down out here. Like even the road walks, it's like yeah, this sucks, like I want to get into town. Yeah. But then I'm like doing the CDT, like this is really cool. I don't know, it's like there's always something to be able to, maybe that's really my mantra, just to be able to flip to like, what's the good part about what you're doing versus like, yeah, okay, this sucks for today, but it's gonna be better tomorrow. Yeah, don't like road walking, but at least I'm out here doing something that I really love. Or like even, gosh, I think we've been lucky with hitting towns like on the days that it's been really like, bad, blustery. Yeah, for sure. It's like, bad winds. Okay, I have a tent to stay in, or there's a long water haul, but at least there's like an alternate route. I don't know, there's just always something that's like, maybe it could be worse, which I don't know, that's maybe a dark way to think about it. Well,
but I mean, I think that's a fair point though, like, there's definitely a type of person on or off trail. Honestly, if they're on trail, they probably won't be on trail for long, but like, there's definitely a type of person who's going to be that worry wart, woe is me, sort of Eeyore type, like, any excuse to kind of hang your head down and they'll take it. But I've at least found, I mean, and again, you have much more trail experience than I do, but that it's not, I mean, like, everyone knows how to walk, so what we're doing physically, I really can't say, I to my mind, like, isn't super hard. Like, what's hard is like the head game and being able to flip that switch. So I think it's a good point that you make, that like whether it's a mantra or just an approach and a disposition or vantage that you have to adopt to be able to like grab your brain and turn it around or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent. I think anyone could do this. I really do. Yeah. But I also say anyone that wants to do it. can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is not your thing, like, don't go thinking you're gonna come out here and just like all of a sudden find that it's a great time. Like,
yeah.
you have to want to do it to be out here, because otherwise the roadblocks will turn into like, this is a really sucky day.
Yeah.
I don't want to be out here and like, and then you start getting negative versus like, yeah, I wanted to do this. Like, I think ever since I crossed the border on the PCT was like, yes, I'm going to Triple Crown. And so
Cool.
It's like, you have to want that. You have to have that drive to want to do this. So, but yeah, I think anyone can do it. It's good.
All right. Well, so then to that point, do you have any sort of like pointers, advice, words of wisdom to give to people who are maybe getting into it or looking at getting onto a long trail or anything like that? I mean, because at this point you've done the PCT and the AT, and now, gosh, I don't even like to say it, but what, probably an eighth or something of the, maybe more than that, of the CDT. Gosh, that's weird to think about.
I know, we're getting up there, and I mean, I treat it like anything. I feel like people can do a lot of things. It's just like, start incrementally. Like, don't all of a sudden start a through hike, because of course you're gonna fail or probably not be very successful. Borrow some gear from your friend that's done it. Go out and do a day. So you like it, do like 2 days, then do a week. I mean, that's really what we're out here. We're doing like 5 to 6 day stretches in a row, like back to back to back. So just like keep practicing with different gear, and like anything, even if you wanted, some people are daunted by like starting to run. It's like, well, run, walk, and then run a mile, and then run 5, and then pretty soon you're doing an ultra. You know, I mean, it's just like, take it incrementally until you're there, and then go for it. The hardest part is probably quitting your job. Like, leaving that security. Of like what the whole world tells you is like what you should be doing. Oh, after that, it's just walking.
All right, let's see. Any other? What other questions do I have?
If everyone likes 700s, what do I need to say? I'm not.
Well, 700 is a pretty lovable guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's pretty.
All right. Well, so let me pull on a string you kind of laid down earlier about. So you're not particularly, and nor am I, not overly, at least not petrified by fear, not immobilized by fear over rattlesnakes or bears or anything else. Is there anything like, what out here on this trail specifically gets your attention the most? Like, is it the weather? Is it the heat? Is it the water? Is it the elevation? Is it the snow? Is it the grizzlies? Is it the... I mean, there's a million things out here. But...
Yeah, there is a million things. I think it's probably the grizzlies, and more just because it's something I'm unfamiliar with. Like, I've dealt with desert weather and conditions. I've dealt with snakes. I've dealt with, like, all the other animals through Colorado, and, like, other bears, and it's like, it's just kind of an unknown. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sure it'll be fine when I get there, once I figure out and it becomes a known entity. But that's probably the biggest unknown.
The grizzlies.
Yeah.
Are you planning on bear canister or anything, or Ursac?
Yeah,
or
bear canister.
Bear canister.
I haven't decided whether I'm going to go Ursac or bring out my old heavy bear vault.
Ooh, the 500 or?
Yeah. Haven't decided on that yet. But yeah, I'm really usually more afraid of the unknown, something that's unfamiliar. I can't like do that incremental. Like, I can't get used to that. But. Yeah,
that's a good point actually. So I'll pull on that too. So when I was talking to 700 a couple weeks ago, he was talking about how little. I mean, you and I both know because we've spent some time with him about like how little planning he's done in advance of this hike, and he's like, "What do you mean? Like the San Juans are gonna have snow on them? Like how much snow? Is it gonna be bad?" And now he's talking about not leaving until June or whatever.
Yeah, now he has a revised plan. A revised not plan.
Like, and I feel like I'm at least in that respect. If I'm picking up what you're putting down on that last point about grizzlies or whatever, like, I put a lot of stock in preparation, and I'm not gonna go crazy out here. I'm not gonna drive myself crazy, and I gotta like throttle myself back sometimes when I feel myself sort of spinning off before getting on trail, but like I made a list of every alternate on the CDT and looked at why does it exist, do I want to take it, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna take it. It just means I want to understand it. You know, how much I don't know what, like preparation or research or I don't know what, whether it's videos, books, maps, anything.
I didn't really watch any videos. I have been following some Instagram feeds, just that's more like gets me psyched.
Yeah.
And I guess there's some bits of information, like seeing what people have.
Like gear review or pack out or something like that?
Yeah, not even that really. Just like, oh, what does it look like in June when they're going through this area, like type thing. Kind of give me a gauge of like, okay, yeah, I gotta be ready for snow, or like, oh yeah, the water sources, that's what they're gonna look like.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I kind of was already dialed in my own gear, so I didn't really do the gear review thing. But no, for planning, I mostly like looked at the mileage. And because food and water is really the main thing I'm always concerned about out here. And so for planning, looked at all the mileages. I actually found someone else's spreadsheet. I do love a good spreadsheet.
Yeah, sure.
Found someone's spreadsheet and modified it. And then just put every town stop on there. And just calculated, like, based on moving speed and all that, like how long it's going to take me in between, which ones have resupplies and not. And partly so I could communicate back and say like, okay, this is when I need a box shipped.
Right.
And so, but even then, like, at least as far as my experience has gone otherwise, it's like put together the detailed plan, have all these dates, and be completely ready for those dates to change, like the day you get on trail, because there's something that's going to go wrong, or like you'll find out that, oh, this resupply isn't there anymore, or that option isn't there anymore, or like, oh wow, no, like they just like put a Walmart in there, and so it just you find things out on trail that the amount of research you do or don't do, I feel like you don't know until you get on trail somehow. So that's pretty much how I did it, was like plan, and you just realize that it's gonna change. Yeah.
Was it the plan? What is it, like the plan means everything until you get punched in the nose or something like that? Who was that? Muhammad Ali, or one of those guys? I don't know which boxer.
I feel like it's like, this is like a little bit pulling from my work life. Is it's like a schedule that I heard once that a schedule is one way you know it's not going to happen.
Fair enough. Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So that's kind of how I feel about my plans. Yeah, I know that's one way it's not going to happen.
All right, cool. Well, I guess I'll go out on like one final, because everyone loves to talk about gear. So just, I know you got a brand new brand new tent, but the same pack. In fact, we have the same tent and the same pack, which is kind of random. Great minds think alike, I guess.
That's right.
But any particular gear so far on this trail, whether it's the tent or the bag, or any like anything that really stands out that you're really happy with, that you're like, whoa, that really did it. Like, for me, honestly, like this shirt, I thought has done a stellar job. I loved it. This, whatever, Black Diamond Alpine Glow or something. But any, or just a brand of sunscreen that you really enjoy, or anything. Like, I don't know. Like
my mineral sunscreen that I call my ghost sunscreen.
Yeah.
One piece of gear, this is like an old piece of gear, is getting my Marmot Pinnacle back, which is a heavy bag.
What is that? Marmot
Pinnacle? It's the
sleeping
bag.
Your sleeping bag. Okay, right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Bag, sleeping bag. I love having that thing back.
Really?
It's a little heavy. It's 15-degree bag though, and I had it on the PCT. I didn't use it for the AT, but I'm so happy to have it back on this trail. And I was kind of surprised I would be so happy to have it back, because it's like 3 pounds.
Oh man.
And the other one that's kind of a heavy hitter that is not ultralight that I'm really happy to have is, and I try to tell everyone that buys a plastic stupid spork, get a real spoon from the cafeteria and take it with you. That's fine.
right.
I know
That's
there's
right.
the titanium, so I
Yeah.
use
That's
a
true.
titanium spoon, but I love my I wish I would have brought it down for the interview. So
We'll take a picture.
around.
I'll take a picture and we'll just put it below or something.
Just a good old tablespoon.
Yeah.
It never breaks. It's never failed me ever since I picked it up on like the second half of the PCT. Like that would almost triple crown if I would start.
It's just like the most legit old school classic spoon that you could imagine. Yeah. All right. Cool.
But yeah. Otherwise, all my gear is pretty like run of the mill.
Yeah.
Gear.
So the Mama's sleeping bag. Well, hey man, the sleeping bag's a good one to enjoy. If you're gonna enjoy anything, like sleeping is good. So.
It is good.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that's probably about it. Do you have any parting thoughts at all? Anything you want to send out to the people of the world, my millions and millions of subscribers? Or that's not the case.
Fan base.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're out hiking, keep hiking and enjoy it. If you're interested in hiking, get out there and enjoy it.
Cool.
That's all, really. Just go enjoy it. Do it before you can. That's
true.
probably my biggest thing.
But we both met a lot of
people
old timers out here too. There's a lot of folks that are 60s, 70s.
Oh
out here.
yeah, no, like do it whenever you can.
Yeah.
Do it sooner than later.
Yeah, absolutely. No time like the present. Cool. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Cool, guys. All right. Well, drop a comment and I'll put. I didn't ask you any. Do you want to give out your Instagram or anything like that, or social media to plug?
If you are curious, Outdoor Invention Girl on Instagram.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm posting pictures
Very cool.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, we'll put a link to that down below as well. Cool. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye, everybody.